Hello and welcome to Fox Comics and Games in beautiful downtown Marion, Illinois, and we are unboxing this week's new comic books. And these comics will go on sale Wednesday, January 10th at 10 a.m. at Fox's because we open the door on Wednesday with the comics ready to go. That's how we roll because that's who we are. First up will be DC's Superman in Action Comics, issue 995. You can see Superman there and some bogus character that nobody cares about in the DC universe with him. Next up, from Archie Comics, we have Archie, and that is issue 27 of the all-new Archie. And he doesn't care about Booster Gold either. And next up from Marvel, we have The Avengers, No Surrender, issue 1. And that looks very lenticular and very 3D-y, so that's very, very nice. We also have some sketch variants available for that one as well, so if you're interested in those, you need to stop by and get them early. Next up from DC is Batgirl and the Girls of Prey, and that is issue 18, and that does not involve church-going women. It's a different kind of prey, so just so you know. Next up from Valiant Publishing, we have Bloodshot Salvation, issue 5. Jeff Lemire's work, very, very strong, very solid. You need to get into the Valiant universe. Again, if you're not doing so, there is something wrong with you. All right, next up from Marvel, issue 153 of Cable. And next up from Image Publishing is Coyotes, issue 3. And then we have from Marvel, Daredevil, issue 597. And next up from Marvel, we have The Despicable Deadpool, issue 292. Because that Deadpool, he's funny. Next up from DC, we have Batman Detective, with Batwoman, Batwoman taking aim. And will she pull the trigger? We're not sure. Next up from DC is Flash, issue 38. Cold Day and HE Double Toothpicks. And that is issue 38 of Flash. And to give you an idea of how different some of the variant covers look, that's the primary cover. And then there's the variant cover that's also available, just if you prefer a different cover on it. There's fewer of them made, so the collectability is implied to be more. I don't know about all that, but sometimes people just like the look of the other cover. But we carry variants as well. Next up from IDW is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. Then from DC, we have issue 7 of Gotham City Garage. And then from Marvel, issue 24 of The Unbelievable Gwenpool. And it's unbelievable because you can't believe someone would make that comic. Next up, from DC, you have Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, issue 36. And that is Hal Jordan and the Corps in the grips of the controllers. So you might want to check that out. It's been a pretty fun run so far. That's the variant cover on that one. Then also from DC, we have Harley Quinn pointing at you in issue 34 and saying, yep. And her variant cover this week is Harley kicking 2017, the planet Earth in 2017, and saying good riddance, which who could blame her after the death of Adam West. Next up, we have a new run for Harley Quinn that is called Harley Quinn Be Careful What You Wish For, and that is issue 1 of that. Those are wildly, highly collectible, and you'll want to rush down immediately and grab some of those. I'm sure they barely printed any of them. Next up from Image is issue 4 out of 4 of Headlopper, a quarterly comic, so it's thicker than most comics. Very interesting. And that is the last of this run of Headlopper. They will probably have another one starting in about a half a year or so. Next up from Archaea Publishing is Jim Henson's The Power of the Dark Crystal, issue 10 of 12. So there's only 2 more issues after this one. Very visually beautiful comic. Nice stuff. DC offers up issue 22 of Justice League of America. So there is that. Next up from Image will be The Kingsman, issue 5, and there's only 6 in this current run of The Kingsman, so there's only one after this. But that is The Kingsman, Red Diamond, issue 5. And then also from DC is issue 6 of Mr. Miracle. And there's 12 scheduled issues of Mr. Miracle, so we're halfway home. Next up from Marvel is Miss Marvel with the Teenage Wasteland title, so you can cue the Who and have them start playing. And then there's from DC the new Superman issue 19, if you're so inclined. A reorder, but something we thought we'd take a moment to discuss. We got in some more Ninjak issue 1, and this is what they call the $1 debut. And Valiant, and every publisher does this, they take their big titles and they'll reprint the first issue and sell it to you for only $1 so that it's cheap for you to try it out. So it's a great way to explore the Valiant universe and to get your toe in the door without committing more than $1. So you've got no excuse. Get your butt down here and get you some of those. All right, next up, the reason that's important is issue 1 of Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. Issue 1 hits tomorrow, and that looks to be pretty exciting. And then next from Marvel is issue 1 of Old Man Hawkeye. Because why wouldn't you? And there's nothing more unique and different than a comic that starts with Old Man. So that's issue 1 of Old Man Hawkeye. And next up from Marvel is Old Man Logan. Okay, I'm sorry, it's not that unique. Old Man Logan issue 33 comes out tomorrow. Next up from Titan Publishing is Penny Dreadful. Kind of around the same kind of lines as the TV show, and that's been fairly interesting. Also from Marvel, The Resurrection of Jean Grey, issue 3. And that's the primary cover. And then Phoenix Resurrection of Jean Grey, that's the variant cover for number 3. Image offers up Port of Earth, issue 3 by Zach Kaplan. A very interesting book, nice run. So far been very, very good. He's the guy that brought you, I believe, Eclipse, if I'm not mistaken. Next up from Marvel is The Punisher, issue 220. And then we have from DC, Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue 18. And that looks pretty interesting in a bizarro kind of way. And then next up from Image, a nice title called Rose from Meredith Finch. That's issue 7. And if you've not been reading that, you should. There's something wrong with you. Fix that and buy some. Next up from Marvel is issue 5 of The Runaways. Not to be confused with the people stuffed in my trunk currently, but this is a different kind of Runaways. So that's from Marvel, issue 5 of The Runaways. I'm going to slide that up, and I will put next up from DC Comics, issue 21, Scooby Apocalypse, issue 21. And that's a reimagining of the Scooby-Doo universe, and it is pretty different and wild. Next up from Titan Publishing is Sherlock, The Great Game, issue 6. And they've done a great job, not only with Sherlock Holmes, but also with James Bond. They've done a really good job bringing back some of these old comic characters, and that's been pretty well received. Marvel, issue 26 of Spider-Man vs. Deadpool. Oldies, part 1, and you can see that Spider-Man is old and in a wheelchair, and Deadpool, oddly, has a beard growing outside of his mask, which I don't understand that, but I don't know. Next up will be SpongeBob, issue 76, Untitled, if you get that joke. Next up, Marvel, Star Wars, Darth Vader, issue 10. And I will say this clears up a lot of the unanswered questions from issue 9. So that's a good reason to buy that one. All right, next up, DC Universe Suicide Squad, issue 33. Those 8 people put their lives on their country, but one of them may not come home. Ooh. Then DC, Supergirl. And that's a pretty cool cover, as is the variant for that. We thought that was a beautiful cover, so we thought we would include that with today's unpacking video. Next up is Superwoman, issue 18, also from DC, as is issue 19 of Titans. And this is the variant cover on Titans, kind of give you an idea of what that guy looks like. Next up, from IDW, we have issue 78 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's all I've got to say about that. Trump's Titans. This is a great comic for everybody that's a big fan of the president, or this is also a great comic for everybody that hates the president. So there you go. Those are the two groups that's marketed to. Next up from Marvel is Venom, issue 160, part of the Venom Incorporated run that they've had going there. Next up from DC is Wildstorm, Michael Cray, issue 4. And that's been a pretty interesting run so far. A reorder, for those of you that might have missed it the first time around, and it says second printing clearly right on there, is the second printing of Witchblade number 1, the current Witchblade. And Witchblade number 2 also is out tomorrow. Wonder Woman's issue 38, because Mr. Fox needed that. And then that's what her glorious variant cover looks like as well, with the feathers flying. After that, we have WWE Royal Rumble 2018 special. If you're so inclined, we have those, and that is issue 1 of that. Marvel X-Men Blue, issue 19. And then Marvel X-Men Gold, annual number 1 for the X-Men Gold, also hits tomorrow. And then last on the list for this week is Image Publishing's Youngblood, issue 8. Also available tomorrow will be short comic boxes with graphics on them from Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Superman. So if any of that strikes your fancy, they will be on sale Wednesday, January 10th. Hope to see you here.